This is a video that I've been working on slowly, and I don't know if I'm completely finished. There may have to be a part 2 later on, but if there is, I'll just stitch this video so that everyone knows that it's connected. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the man of lawlessness today that is mentioned in 2 Thessalonians 2. Okay, so lawless means disobedience, or in John it says that lawlessness is sin. Well, Thessalonians says that this man of lawlessness sets himself up in the temple of God. And I know many people believe it is going to be a physical temple in Israel, but the thing is God no longer dwells in a building. He dwells within us, within believers. So this man of lawlessness, the spirit of lawlessness, is going to set itself up within believers and call itself God. And we already see stuff like this happening, like people who are claiming they know the Bible well, they know what they believe in God, or God told them this, God told them that, but none of it truly lines up biblically. And there's some people teaching that it's okay to disobey and still be saved, when we can clearly see that the man of lawlessness points people to disobey. Matthew tells us that in the last days, lawlessness will increase and the love of many will grow cold. This is not talking about someone who is going to inherit salvation. 2 Thessalonians 2 continues to go on saying, the coming of the lawless one is by the activity of Satan, with all power and false signs and wonders, and with all wicked deception for those who are perishing, because they refused to love the truth and so be saved. So this spirit of disobedience, the one who's setting himself up within believers and calling himself God, he comes directly from Satan. And it's because these people never cared about the truth in the first place. So the verse goes like this: therefore God sends them a strong delusion, so that they may believe what is false, in order that all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. That's in 2 Thessalonians 2, 9 through 12. Now, we are already seeing the activity of Satan in our culture. Okay, Satan has already been released. Now, a lot of people are controversial about this, but they have to remember that Satan's demons were never bound, just Satan. So we have been fighting against his demons all these years. But if you notice, the work of Satan has increased, where people are outright, hail Satan, especially in media. How we see a lot of activity of Satan with our singers, with the media, like the videos and TV. People are now outright creating videos like worshiping and promoting Satan. Disney has a couple. One of them is about Lucifer, his child, who's the Antichrist, and her mother, who's a pagan. And then has another one that's coming out recently too, and I think it's about child sacrifice. I can't remember. But then we see our celebrities literally getting up on stage going, hail Satan, and mocking God directly and blaspheming God directly. You guys, I mean, that we always struggled against demons who would cause mocking of God or something. But it has gotten far stronger, and it has gotten far worse. Now, remember this. When Jesus died, he took the keys to death and Hades. And ever since Jesus's death, we've been proclaiming Christ everywhere. And we've seen giant moves of people being saved. There's been giant movements of faith and revival. And we were still battling against Satan's demons, but we did reign with Christ. We saw more of Christ and his word being spread and people being delivered and saved, right? Whereas, I mean, because even if you notice in the New Testament, once Jesus ascends, it's no longer I rebuke you, Satan, or they're casting out Satan out of anything. It's demons. Like, the last time we hear of Satan is from Jesus before he ascends, before he dies. And there are strong delusions going around the Christian community as well, such as the lost books of the Bible. I mean, these deception, like the deceptions about these lost book of the Bible, is keeping people from recognizing the simple truth that is within Christ and holding them back from walking further in their power or finding out who Jesus really was. It's walking them away from finding out who Jesus really was. So, like, recently I did a video on the book of Thomas, okay? And I lost my notes. Give me 1 second to go back to them. Or the infancy gospel of Thomas. The infancy gospel says Jesus was doing miracles at 5 years old out of anger, okay? Like healing people out of anger. But the Bible tells us he didn't start healing or any miracles until after he was baptized in Matthew 3. Even John 1 tells us that he was baptized, and then in John 2 talks about the wedding at Cana where he turns the water into wine. Plus, if he had been doing miracles at 5, it would have ruined prophecy. It would have ruined the timeline of all the prophecies needing to be fulfilled. That's why when his mom asked him to turn the water into wine, he goes, "Woman, it's not my time yet." When he healed, there was a man that he healed, and he goes, "Don't tell anyone about this." And then when the demons started proclaiming who he was, he goes, "Shh," like, it wasn't his time yet, because prophecy had to be fulfilled a certain way at a certain timing, you know, in order for everything to line up with the Pharisees wanting to kill him, Judas betraying him, and then him being crucified. Like, his timing had to be perfect. So when he says it wasn't his time, it wasn't his time to be revealed. If he had been doing these things at 5, it would have ruined the timeline for prophecy to be fulfilled. So let's move on to the next deception that is within the church. Predictions of Jesus's return. So, I know we've been talking a lot about this one. There's a lot of this going around. And if it was truly of God that we can predict his coming, why is no one, absolutely no one, in agreement with when his return is actually going to be? Because they're all in disagreement. They're all at different times. Oh, Jesus told me this. First of all, Jesus doesn't even know the day of his return. Only God the Father does, according to Matthew. But nobody, absolutely nobody who claims to be of God predicting these, actually, like, you know, first of all, they never come true, ever. No predictions whatsoever of the rapture have come true, obviously. And there's been a lot of them. So any of you that are still waiting and watching for it, these predictions have been going on for years. It's just getting stronger at this point, and you are highly deceived. But 2, I mean, we are just told to be ready at all times. Keep our heart ready at all times. Be prepared for him. Watch for signs so that we're not taken by surprise, because we can see signs of it, but being prepared and seeing signs doesn't mean that we'll know the day or hour. It just means that as we see the prophecy and signs being fulfilled, we'll know that his return draws closer and closer, because unbelievers are not going to see these signs being fulfilled. They won't believe it. They won't care. So, unfortunately, because these people are trying to predict the rapture, many people have lost the want to obey God. Instead of going, hey, let's go out and do God's will, let's get these souls saved, they literally are sitting on their couch waiting for this rapture to happen. They literally are sitting on their couch waiting for this rapture to happen. There is a person I've been talking to that when she was under Dana's teachings, and yes, I will outright mention Dana's name in this video, even though it's not about her, but when she was under Dana's teachings, and Dana was predicting the rapture last year, because many people have told me she predicted the rapture last year, and I just can't